Time to get cozy. Welcome back to the Vulnerability School podcast. I am your host, Jenna Jarvis, and we are here in my bedroom. And today's topic is suppression equals depression. The word depression literally means to press down. And I don't think it's a coincidence that when most of us feel depressed, it's because we've spent way too much time pressing down on who we really are, pressing down on our truth, on our boundaries, on our emotions, on our desires, on just who we really are to our core. And depression at its core is suppression. The more that you press down on your true self, the more you're going to fall into depression. It's just the weight of everything that we have ever silenced coming to the surface. I used to really see depression as something that was wrong with me, and it's something I've for sure experienced on and off throughout my life. And you don't really understand that you experience it until you experience it and you're like, oh yeah, okay, I've actually experienced this my whole life. I used to just think I was lazy or broken or just couldn't stay positive, like something was just truly wrong with me. And now I see it as I am out of alignment, because from my perspective, depression is when our body and our mind is finally like, I can't hold this in anymore. I can't keep pretending. It's what happens when we say yes so many fucking times when we were supposed to say no, when we knew we needed to say no. Something that's been coming up for me so much is it's been like a movie in my head, literally. I always go to a coffee shop to work on my laptop, and something that I always see people that I know, or like anywhere I go in Utah, I went to like some Halloween parties and like saw people I know, and there was like things I needed to do and work I needed to get done when I was at these coffee shops, or like when I was at this party, like a place, like I wanted to go see someone or something. But for some reason, it's so hard for me to like stop a conversation. I just feel so bad. The people pleaser in me is like, no, do not offend them, do not offend them, do not offend them. But then I realized I'm offending myself. I am disrespecting myself to please someone else. And that is so sad, and that's not going to lead to pleasing anyone, because it just makes me frustrated, and then I'm not even genuinely listening to them. I'm just thinking about how I'm going to get out of this conversation while I'm like about to crawl out of my skin. So something I'm practicing, because that makes me so anxious, so anxious, when it's like, okay, Jenna, just step up and stand up for yourself and be like, bro, I gotta go do something, but it's so sweet to talk to you. Like, it doesn't have to be mean. So that's something I'm working on. Depression happens when we smile through discomfort, when we pretend everything's okay, when we play small to stay safe, when we ignore like the little whispers from our intuition of who we're meant to be because we feel like we'll be too much. We just resist and resist and resist. And all it creates in our bodies and our minds is like this dis-ease. When we really just surrender and we accept ourselves and we don't keep suppressing all these emotions, it creates so much ease in our body, and we can just flow. A meditation that I keep doing with my girls on our calls that we have is I have everyone close their eyes and I imagine them as the water in the river. And sometimes there's like debris, or there's like branches, or sometimes we just want to cling to the sides and like hold on to everything. But the water, I just have them imagine like this water is just trying to allow them to flow down this river, but they're just holding and grasping onto everything. And I tell them to just release and allow yourself to just flow with this water. And it's one of my favorite analogies and like meditations to go through, because that's how life is. All of this anxiety and this depression, all these things keep us so stuck. But if we can just accept who we are and accept our purpose and accept our boundaries and accept respect for ourselves, then we can flow and things can be so easy. It is so much harder to stay stuck holding on to all of these things. And I feel like today, especially for me, like I get so overwhelmed because there's so many things to do. Like, I want to look cute. I want to have a good body. I want to eat healthy. I want to have a really good nighttime routine, but I also want to spend time with my friends. Like, trying to find that balance is so hard. What it's come down to for me is really being like, okay, how can I connect with my true self, and how can I not abandon myself in these moments? Like, do I really want to go to the social gathering with my friends, even though it's going to throw off my sleep schedule and I'm going to be frustrated tomorrow? Or do I really want to spend money on this workout set when I know I can't afford it and I could be spending my money on better things and it's going to make me anxious? Like, just figuring these things out and figuring out how I can no longer abandon myself, but maybe abandon other people's opinions of me. And trying to suppress our emotions is like trying to hold a beach ball underwater. We can do it for a while and maybe even years, but it takes so much energy. And eventually we get so tired and eventually we let go and it just shoots up with so much force that it just splashes everywhere. And that's the breakdown. That's the emotional explosion. That's the crying in your car, on the bathroom floor, in the shower, because our bodies just cannot take it anymore. And sometimes I try to remind myself that our nervous systems are similar to like a pressure cooker. Every unspoken truth, all of our ignored dreams, every boundary that we don't hold, it all just adds heat. And if we don't have a release for these things, for example, movement, crying, honesty, tapping into our creativity, that heat turns inward. And that's literally depression. And as I've studied this subject more and more, because suppression equals depression has just kept playing in my mind over the last little bit. I don't know where I heard that or if my brain just came up with that somehow, but I cannot get it out of my head because I'm like, do not suppress, Jenna. Like, stay with yourself, express yourself. Be yourself. Because, and the more I've studied this, when you suppress your emotions, your body just floods with cortisol and adrenaline. Your heart rate goes up, your muscles tense, your amygdala, which is the fear center in your brain, stays on high alert. And over time, this constant tension is going to burn you out. And this isn't a weakness, it's literally your biology trying to protect you, which is so beautiful and makes so much sense. And we've always heard the body keeps the score. And when we swallow our truth, our body is going to store it somewhere. Whether that's a tight jaw, knots in your stomach, headaches, our body will not forget it. It will just store it inside. And eventually it's like, hey, we are carrying too much. Help, por favor. And then comes the shutdown. Or in other words, our freeze state, which is our nervous system flipping the breaker. We go from fight or flight to nothing, just flat and numb. And this isn't failure. This isn't a weakness. This is protection. It's our body literally saying, like, I cannot do this anymore. I'm shutting off the lights for right now. Like, I need a break. And it's so crazy. I mean, I've definitely been thinking about this a lot because it's something I've been experiencing. I'm emotional. I'm about to start my period. And I've just promised myself that I'm going to consistently record episodes and release them every week. And so even though it's like 10 p.m. and I just had such a long work day, I'm like, I'm doing this because I love this podcast and I want to be consistent with it. So here we are. But something I've been noticing about myself lately, like, of course, it's been like the energy of the full moon and I'm about to start my period and just so much has been coming up for me with relationships and so much is shifting. Like, I'm moving, I'm really figuring out things with vulnerability is cool and I'm becoming way more organized and just a lot is shifting in my life. And like I said, I've been such a people pleaser. I mean, I've progressed so much and I'm really hard on myself, but I've been a people pleaser in the way that, like, sometimes I just am not fully honest. Like, I'll be fully honest about the good, but not fully honest in like, hey, like, I need to leave right now. Like, oh, I've got stuff to do. I'm just so scared of hurting people and offending someone. And anyways, I've just suppressed these emotions because, like, I don't want to hurt other people, but it's taught me that I'm just hurting myself. There was a couple days where it was so hard for me to get out of bed in the morning. Like, I just kept snoozing my alarm, which isn't super like me. Like, I'm a very early riser. And yeah, I've just noticed exactly what I'm saying, that my body's been like, Jenna, please slow down. And this thought keeps coming in my head, like, suppression equals depression. Jenna, you need to express yourself and stand up for yourself and have boundaries. And the people in your life that love you will be so happy that you have boundaries and they'll be so excited that you're standing up for yourself. And that's what I'm just reminding myself. And that's what I'm practicing every day. And it actually came up for me in ayahuasca. I remember I was trying to talk to someone, people kept coming up to that person. And I literally said to them, like, hey, I'm talking to this person. Can you wait a minute? Like, I was so brave and people just were like, oh yeah. And it was such an example for me to practice in real life, which I am now implementing. Stay tuned. And one of the biggest things I've learned with this is that suppression isn't only about emotions, it's about authenticity. Because every time we silence our intuition, shrink our desires, or dim our light to keep the peace, we're telling our nervous system it's not safe to be me, which makes me so emotional saying that. Like, that is so sad. Every time we do that, we're telling our bodies it is not safe to be me, which I don't think those are our own true thoughts. I think those are thoughts we've taken on from other people, because I don't think we came into this world thinking that. And so I think a lot of this also is unpacking that. Like, where did this thought come from that is not mine? Who taught me that my truth is not the truth that I should follow? Because telling ourselves it's not safe to be me is the most soul crushing message of all. And for many of us, that looks like, I'm going to give some examples, staying in a relationship that you know is not right, whether that's a friendship or that's a romantic relationship, because you're scared of being alone. I promise it is so much scarier to stay in that relationship, or staying quiet in a meeting or in a conversation because we don't want to sound dramatic. This has come up for me a lot lately because I'm a sensitive person, a highly sensitive person. And I love that about myself. I think it's so beautiful because I feel emotions so deeply. I can feel so happy and the magic and all these exciting feelings. And I can also sense when something's off. Like, my intuition has just got stronger and stronger and stronger because I'm finally listening to it. I had experience lately that someone was like, well, you're just so sensitive. And I'm like, yeah. And like, I love that about myself, you know? I'm like, I don't need people in my life to think I'm too sensitive. I'm like, well, you're not sensitive enough for me, you know? Peace out, brother. Even like the smallest example can be saying you're fine when you're really not. Because over time, we're just going to start living someone else's life when that will literally never work for us, and it will never feel aligned. And the more that we just shove that down, the further and further and further we're going to get from ourselves. And that is when depression just seeps right in, because our souls are homesick for us. And Stephen Pressfield, one of my favorite authors who wrote The War of Art, calls this resistance. It's that invisible force that rises when we try to grow, evolve, or create something true to us. He uses this insane example, Hitler. Before he became who we know him as, he wanted to be an artist. He applied to art school twice and got rejected and then gave up. Instead of facing his creative resistance, he suppressed it. And that repressed creative energy turned into destruction. And that's a very extreme example, but it proves a point. When you don't channel your truth into creation, it turns into destruction of yourself or of the world around you. Every woman I know has felt that in smaller ways. When we don't let our creative energy move, it turns into anxiety, comparison, obsession, control, self-hate. I could go on and on and on. You either express it or you implode. Expression is the opposite of depression. Expression is the opposite of depression. You don't have to fix it yourself. You just have to feel it yourself. You can cry, you can move, you can dance. Something I have loved getting into is ecstatic dance. We just did this at my last event. Ecstatic dance is essentially just moving your body. And you don't talk, everyone just moves and flows. And if you think you can't dance, you are lying to yourself. Everyone can dance. Everyone. You just have to move to your body and find your rhythm. Just practice it alone in your bedroom. Like, turn on a cool song and just allow your body to move in the way that it wants to move. I swear, when I go to ecstatic dance, I get like a runner's high. It's so cool. Just dance to a song like no one's watching, because literally no one is. Write something out that's honest and not petty, just how you actually feel. Tell someone the truth, even if it is so hard. Do breath work so your body can remember that it's safe to exhale. Go do something that you've always wanted to do. Learn an instrument, or go paint by yourself, or take the time to make some crafts, or write a letter to a friend and send them a letter in the mail. Just do something that lights you up. Make a cake, make some cookies, do something to use your creative energy. Every time you express, you're telling your nervous system it is safe to be here. It is safe to be me. Because depression isn't the absence of happiness, it is the absence of expression. And this might feel scary, but I promise you, it is so much scarier to continue to abandon yourself for the rest of your fucking life. It is okay to outgrow the version of you that was built to survive. You do not have to be the cool, chill girl that has zero needs. You don't have to stay small so you don't intimidate people. You don't have to fake chill when your soul wants depth. And you don't have to settle for people that don't want your depth. Your body, your emotions, your art, they all want to move freely. They want to breathe. And I promise you, when you stop suppressing, life stops feeling so heavy. And really, the people that you want to please in your life are not worth pleasing over yourself. I have learned this time and time again. You deserve you. You deserve your love before anyone else. I've just been reminding myself so much lately, especially when I feel down and I'm just a little bit out of it. I'm like, Jenna, you know magic exists. You know you are magic, and you know you can't surround yourself with people that don't see that and that don't believe in that and that don't want you to be your highest and best self. They're just not worth it. Like, I have amazing people in my life right now, but there's been points when I didn't feel that way. And I wish I could just tell my younger self, like, it's so much better to be alone than to be surrounded by people that don't actually love you unconditionally for who you actually are, because we all deserve that. So I just want you to take a deep breath, breathing in, breathing out. And I want you to tell yourself, I am safe to be me. And just remind yourself, like, the people that are meant for you will always be there, and you will always find them if you are yourself. And you don't want people in your life that only like you for this watered down version of you. It's not going to last, and you're not going to stay comfortable, and you're not going to feel good about yourself. And I promise you, there are so many people that want to see the vibrant, beautiful you, but you have to want to see that version too. So I just want you to ask yourself, like, where am I pressing myself down? Where do I feel suppression in my life? What truth am I avoiding? And what would happen if I just let the real version of me breathe again? If I just let her be and I let her out and I stick up for her and I respected her? What would happen? Like, actually ask yourself, because when you suppress emotions, you depress the full system. I always like to think about dis-ease in your mind creates disease in your body. It also creates disease in your mind, and ease creates ease in your body. And you can just live freely and effortlessly and just be yourself. You don't have to put up this facade, this act. When you suppress your truth, you depress your soul. And healing isn't about never feeling pain again. It's about allowing everything that's constantly being pushed down to rise in a healthy way. Because let's be honest, those things are rising all the time. We get triggered all the time. Those things are coming up in unhealthy ways. But if you just fully allow those emotions to come up in a healthy way, we can allow them to go. Just like that beach ball. Instead of constantly pushing it down, like just allowing it to float up and float away. Or like when we're in the river and we're trying to grasp onto every single thing. We just let it go and we just flow down the river. And if I could have everyone in the world understand one thing today, it would be that you deserve you, and you are worthy of you, and you are worthy of your love just as much as anyone else, and way more than anyone else. I have been on such a journey of choosing myself, and like, it has changed my life, and it is 100% the reason that I'm here today. You know, like, there's so many times that I did not think I was going to make it and that I could carry myself through. But the more that I've chosen myself, even with all the childhood trauma, sexual abuse, narcissistic abuse, all the things, like, I have been able to build myself up so much that I've become my own rock. And it's so special and magical. And I've just been on this journey of becoming my own magic partner and what I seek in a relationship and finding that within myself first. And it's truly been the most powerful thing I've ever done. Whether you're in a relationship, you're not, wherever you're at, I think no matter what, like, the most important relationship you'll ever have is the one that you have with yourself. Lots of shifting in my life, so I'm excited for you to follow along and see the things. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else I want to say, but just remember, suppression equals depression, and expression sets you free. And I love you so much, and I hope that this podcast inspires you to love yourself more and more every day. In the name of vulnerability, amen.